A few days ago, I made a video about why EU5 lost me as a player. A lot of you in the comments said you really enjoyed it and that with Rossbach out, I should give it another chance. So I did. I loaded up Brandenburg, one of the headline nations of the patch, named after one of Prussia's greatest military victories, and I played for an hour. I spent most of that time on max speed. I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum. I don't like to do that, and that's just like not the type of person that I am. If you like EU5, that is great. I am glad. Play EU5. 2 thumbs up from me. If you are having a good time, don't let anyone take that away from you. At the same time, I really loved EU4. I love Paradox games, and I don't think I'm alone with struggling to like EU5. 1.1, first major patch of the game, should bring some good stuff. I was hyped to hear about it. It dropped like 2 weeks ago. It added a bunch of German content. It added a bunch of economic rework content. It revamped the Brandenburg Disaster. It felt like the game was telling me, come back, play Brandenburg, good stuff here. And since I haven't played it in a couple months, I thought it was only fair. Brandenburg in EU4 is the prototypical start small, become very strong later. First off, I gotta say, it's a little bit of a feels bad to load into a nation and have a bunch of red alerts that you need to deal with. The only one here is that we're way over our diplomatic capacity because we start off with an alliance with Denmark and we have 1 subject, means we have too much diplomatic stuff going on. 1 alliance, 1 subject, red. Anyway, you can bump up your diplomatic spending to try and get more diplomatic capacity. It gets you, I think, like 5% of the way there, which is okay. We are losing money, which is also a bit of a feels bad considering Brandenburg isn't a small nation in EU5. It's also not a small nation in EU4. It's kind of weird that the mid-sized power is starting in the red. Yes, we have a fort. Yes, we can get rid of the fort and bump all our taxes and then we'll be okay, but we're making like 1 ducat a month. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just not the economic god. Again, I don't expect every nation in EU5 to be rolling in the money. In fact, it was probably a problem last time that everyone was too rich, too fast. Like if you're a Tibetan steppe nomad, you shouldn't have lots of money in 1337 without doing anything. That's fine. Anyway, you do your opening moves, set up your nation, do stuff. The Brandenburg TM disaster will fire. I think the historical context of the disaster is actually pretty cool. You are the Wittelsbach? You are the Wittelsbach dynasty. Your papa is the Holy Roman Emperor. You are his son. He has transplanted you to rule over Brandenburg, which at this point is like not the center of civilization. It's still frontiers-ish. You have this big dynasty to rely on, even though they're on the decline overall, historically, if they don't know that yet, and who are currently the Holy Roman Emperors, and you're transplanted to rule a nation of a bunch of people who don't like you because you're a foreigner. The premise of this is pretty cool. You have a disaster. Obviously, people don't like you because you're different, so you have people trying to get rid of you. Historically, I'm pretty sure the Wittelsbach got kicked out, and in EU4, they're ruled by the Hohenzollern. They're ruled by Hohenzollern at the game start. So you lose the disaster historically, but it's kind of cool to be doing this ahistorical thing. Maybe you can change things around and bring your dynasty on the way back up. The problem, I think, is that the disaster doesn't do a good job of telling you why you should care. Now, maybe you are a Wittelsbach supremacist and just do it for the love of the game, which is fine. But I think the disaster should dangle in front of you a really good reward, like Wittelsbach Dynasty Ascendant, and it gives you like some really good modifier for 100 years or something. Or if you lose on purpose, maybe because you want to get the whole Hohenzollern, you want to get the other dynasty in power, maybe you get a modifier for them. Now, depending on how you get them in power, maybe it's a good modifier, maybe it's a bad modifier. Like if you just pick all the bad options in the disaster, I don't think it should reward you for that. But if you do it in a certain way, maybe you get a good modifier for your new ruling dynasty. Maybe you get a super good founding leader or something like that. Something to make you actually care about the disaster, because low-key, I did not really care. A lot of the events would happen. They would be something like pay 8 ducats because the peasants are uppity. You can pay 8 ducats to get them to go away and you'll get a 2 thumbs up modifier in your capital that is like 0.25 prosperity or minus 20% building cost, which is not insignificant. Those modifiers are not insignificant. Or you can pay the same amount of money and get that modifier in your capital and in the entire province that your capital's in. Now, maybe I'm misunderstanding something. I looked over this for a good minute. I don't know why anyone would ever pick the top option where you pay the same amount of money, get it only in your capital versus in your capital plus the rest of the places in the province. It's the same exact money, but one just gives you more modifier. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's a bug. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something. It's really cool to have you come in and be the non-historical path to try and buck the trend of history and get your dynasty to stay ruling over Brandenburg. I don't think, for being a hallmark feature of the patch, I don't think the disaster as content right now is that good. Okay, let's back up a little bit. The disaster wants you to get either 100 good dynasty points or minus 100 bad dynasty points, and they start at 0 both. All the events will, if you get the bad dynasty's points, presumably your dynasty gets kicked out, the peasants storm your manor and you get kicked out. Boo-hoo-hoo. If you get 100 of the good dynasty points, everyone recognizes you as the official rulers of Brandenburg and you guys get to stick around, which seems good. Mechanically, as a disaster, that's fine. It just, every event that pops up only gives you 2 or 4 points, it seems like. So the disaster is meant to go on until like the 1400s, which is a long ass time. Something I think the disaster needs to do is really tell you what the stakes are. It's not clear what happens if you win the disaster or lose the disaster, if you get 100 of the good points or minus 100 of the bad points. It could be, I don't know, you get some really OP modifier, or it could be you get a really, really bad modifier that you don't want to have. Either case, I think would be pretty good mechanically, but the disaster should tell you on the disaster screen. Also, a lot of the events in the disaster are just repeated many times. I don't know how many events there are or whether they're capped or they're locked behind what year it is, but you are constantly just getting the same -8 ducats event, this noble has risen up event, this noble has risen up event, things like that. And it just gets a little old after the same event has popped like 5 times. Like, give me more content. This is why the patch is here. I want more events, even if they're bad events. Yes, give me more flavor events. Props where they are deserved. There was this one event that happened where the long lost previous dynasty before the Wittelsbach, this old guy comes out. He's like, hey, that's actually me. I went to the Holy Land for reasons. I'm back now. Also, my funeral, yeah, I had the funeral because I was going to the Holy Land. So I'm back. Let me be king. Obviously, you as the Wittelsbach ruler don't like this guy, but everyone else rallies around him. He launches a revolt. I was expecting something cool because here's this guy coming out of the woodwork. It seems like you even get a little tag that says the real identity of this guy will be revealed, but then he just died. He married someone and then I think he went to their court. The revolt percentage was ticking up. I don't know what happened. It just went away one day. I don't know if the guy died because he was really old and he moved to a court and then his title went away. It was weird. I really wanted to see what was going to happen there. That is something cool. Give me more of those events. Hello. If you are still watching this video right now, you obviously care about games like EU4 and EU5. I do not know what this channel holds, but you should like and subscribe because I'm sure if you're like me, you will like whatever I make next. So do that. Or not. I'm not your boss. Anyway, back to the video. Because the disaster is a pretty big drain on your country. All the other countries around you are not having to deal with that, and that the fact that you are means that you're falling behind them because you're not being able to spend your money building up economically or going to war. Also, you get a pretty nasty control modifier, so you get like -1% control every month, which is a lot. Which brings me to another part. It feels like there's not a lot of choices as Brandenburg right now, at least in my experience, because all of your money is getting siphoned away by the disaster. You don't actually get to build buildings. Sure, your estates are doing that a little bit, and actually to Paradox's credit, the estates seem to actually be building and expanding RGOs. They seem to be building roads, which is a good thing. It's nice that they're doing something because I can't right now. But at the same time, I don't get to make the decision about, do I build a tailor's guild in my capital? Do I build a winery over here? Do I expand the fiber crops RGO or expand the fruits? I don't get to make that choice because all of my money is being taken by the disaster. The fact that the economic rework is supposed to be a big part of the patch, but if you're playing as Brandenburg, which is supposed to be another big focus of the patch, you don't get to use both of them together is a bit of a feels bad. Anyway, I'm playing. I'm doing my thing. I'm taking game actions. I get a CB on some guy. Hi, go to war. Annex that guy. He has no allies. I have an ally. Go to war against them. That's what you're supposed to do in EU games. Hi. Then again, when you take over the land, it's going to be low control. It's going to take forever to integrate that land. Then on top of that, you have the disaster giving you even lower monthly control. So why did we take this land? I don't know. We're not actually getting any benefit out of it. It'd be that way. I can't even give it to a subject because I'm already at my diplomatic capacity. capacity. I could go over the diplomatic capacity, but you get some bad bonuses for doing that. So why did I even go to war to take the land in the first place? At the same time, it feels bad to just speed 5 or speed 7 now. Just feels bad to speed 7, sit there in place, not building up economically because of the disaster, and also just hitting the -8 ducat event over and over. Controversial opinion alert. Controversial opinion alert. Mission trees were good in EU4. They would be good in EU5. I know. Roast me at the stake. Come on. I think a lot of problems that I had in my game in particular with the disaster, it would have been really nice to have another focus or thing to work on that wasn't the disaster. Maybe I could have planned my area of expansion because I have a mission that says conquer the Pomeranian coast. I could have made alliances with people in the vicinity or rivaled people or started building up opinion with people so that I could ally people later so that I could eventually take over the coast. Maybe I could have saw that later down in the mission tree I would have need to have a royal marriage with so-and-so. I don't know, things like that that give me a goal that's outside of the current just go speed 5 through the disaster. Also, weird law thing. Okay, this is a little bit of a tangent, but there's this new law you can pick, a big government law as Brandenburg called like Sibling shares power or something like that, which sounds pretty good because it gives you a whole other reform. So it's basically a free reform and it gives you some okay bonuses and a slight penalty for stability, which is fine. So I'm like, cool, nice reform. I'll take it. Except every time your sibling comes to power, because again, you're Wittelsbach, you're not Brandenburgish. Every time your sibling comes to power, because they're also a Wittelsbach, who are like Southern German or something, or Bavarian, I don't know. Anyway, they're a different culture. Every 5 years, when your sibling takes power, you get a big penalty to either legitimacy or stability because the people don't like you, which is fair and flavorful. It's just combines a really bad situation that I wish was telegraphed more. Maybe I should have just known about this, or maybe there should be a cap on how often that can happen for a nation. I don't know. It was just a bit of a feels bag to constantly be at 0 stability, 0 legitimacy, because I picked a gov reform at the start of the game that looked cool. Now I know, and now you know maybe not to do that as Brandenburg because your rulers are a different culture. When they come into power, they're gonna get this bad event. Yeah. I think the fact that money is the main currency along with counselors, but here nor there, makes it weird that it's almost always better to just be bigger and have more money. You can't be like, it's harder to be a small military power without mill ideas, for example. Sure, yes, Brandenburg gets these very strong bonuses that are much later comparatively, I think. But again, you don't even have lots of money because this disaster is constantly siphoning it away. I do not doubt one day there will be mission trees in EU5 in a way that is probably similar to how EU4 was, at least in shape. It's harder to specialize your country after the fact because you don't have something like ideas. Yes, you have laws. Laws are okay as a way of specialization, but you can't take like half of your ideas as military and then just go be the military guy. Or you can't take half admin ideas and then be really efficient. Or you can't take influence and diplomatic and espionage and just have all of your tendrils everywhere. It'd be nice if you could specialize that way, and maybe we just need more laws or more ways to specialize our country. That's fair. I just think because it's not there yet, it feels like I'm just waiting for this disaster to finish. All of my neighbors are richer than me because they've been able to build up their economies and I haven't been. I want to like the game. I really do. If you love the game, more power to you. I think I'm gonna wait out a bit longer, but I think in terms of my content, we're gonna explore other things. Or who knows, maybe the next video I upload is a Castile, one culture, one faith, world conquest. Who knows? If you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have the best day ever, and go watch that video. Bye.